their A-lister, but you know, we might call him careless, slacker, maybe even a freeloader. Turns off he lived off the generosity of friends because he neglected to publish his music, which could be sold, which he could use to support himself. The majority of Schubert's works all got published posthumously, including that symphony. It took a while, though. It finally made it into print 56 years after the composer died. Low 50s tonight along the I-25 corridor, upper 30s in the mountains, mid-50s on the western slope.
Treating it that way. We're treating it as some sort of political slanging match in Washington, D.C., and it's not working out either for native-born Americans or for the people who are coming.
Jeremy, we have so much coming in. Can I sneak some in?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Real quick. Forrest in Golden, Colorado says, mass immigration cannot be sustained. It's not sustainable as to water, energy, resources, quality of life, climate change, acceleration. We need to stop all immigration if we hope to survive the 21st century as a sustainable civilization. Last one. Shelley says, why do we have this crisis in the first place? Isn't the United States responsible for establishing policies that created our immigration crisis? I feel like if we had another hour, we'd get into that.
Yeah, we do need to do another hour on this because the lines are completely full right now, but I want to get to another caller, Brett, who has been on the line waiting from Titonia, Idaho. Brett, go ahead. Welcome to the middle.
Thank you very much. Hey, I first and foremost want to thank you guys for the forum that you provide, and I really find it enlightening that a lot of the people I've been listening to sort of cover that middle gamut.
Yeah.
And really give a real clear, it sounds like there's a lot of people on both sides that all have really fine points. And so I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and so the one thing first and foremost I want to try to agree upon is that when you travel the world, country to country, border to border, that there are rules and permission needed to do those, and it's been very disheartening to see that we've allowed so many illegal folks to come into this country, understanding that they come from situations that are probably deplorable, and as well, though, a caller mentioned something about how that this country is very labor-starved. And I work in the construction industry, and I can tell you that that's very clear, that there are a lot of jobs that are taken up by folks who are traveling into our country, whether it's legal or illegal, that are providing labor, and they aren't jobs that are being challenged. It's not like people are not getting jobs because they are taking jobs. They're taking jobs that are
Nobody wants.
That either nobody wants or no one has the skill set for, and they're very fine paying jobs, they require a skill, so it's obviously need them. I do somewhat agree, having traveled a lot in South America and knowing that if you were from Argentina and you were in Chile and you were caught there without a chance to be there, you're sent back home. I really think that's something that we need to address in this country, and that if we do how we run across them, we don't need to go looking for people, but when we run across them, maybe they need to go back home, and if they do and are providing a service in this country, we give them the ability to be able to come back quickly. We need to clearly...
Brett, let me. I think we've got it there, and let me take that to the mayor. And I will say, he brought up South America. I do remember being in the Iguazu waterfalls, which is on the border of Argentina and Brazil. And as an American in this group of tourists, I was the only one who wasn't allowed to go to Brazil to the Brazil side because I didn't have a visa. But Brazil gave all the European tourists that were there, they let them cross over. But the Americans aren't allowed because we do it to them. But anyway, what Brett said there, it is true that the ability of somebody to go into another country, like the United Kingdom, for example, is much more difficult than it is in some ways to come into the U.S.
Yeah, and that's true. And I think it really starts with that discussion, that bipartisan, let's sit down, adults in the room kind of discussion on what do we want as a country? What are those rules and those parameters? And then enforce them. Without enforcing them, we could have this conversation, and we will have this conversation until infinity. But we need to have that conversation about, we can't assume, we can't absorb everybody into this country that wants to come. So how do we make sure we're approaching it from an equitable standpoint? I think those are the conversations we need to have, and then you can talk about, okay, what laws make that happen and what policies from the administration make that happen.
I'm going to ask each of you just for a 5-second answer. Do you think whoever wins the election that we're going to get significant action on immigration, Mayor Nichols?
You will. I think you will under the Trump administration. I'm not quite as confident under the Harris.
Ray Suarez?
There's never been as stark a difference between two major party candidates as there is now on immigration, ever.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank my guest, Ray Suarez, a longtime public radio host, journalist, and author of the book, We Are Home, Becoming American in the 21st Century, and the mayor of Yuma, Arizona, Doug Nichols. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Great to be with you, Jeremy.
And next week, we will be asking you what you want the next president to do about another top issue, the economy.
Be sure to call in at 8444-MIDDLE. That's 844-464-3353. Or you can reach out at listentothemiddle.com, or you can also sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
Also, this program note, on Sunday, October 20th, The Middle will have a live cross-border election special. Not the border we've been talking about tonight, but Canada. Canadian and American callers from across the continent. If you want to be on that show and let Canadians know what you're thinking about as you vote, go to cbc.ca/aircheck. The Middle is brought to you by Long Nook Media, distributed by Illinois Public Media in Urbana, Illinois, and produced by Harrison Patino, Danny Alexander, Sam Burmistaz, and John Barth. Our intern is Annika Deschler. Our technical director is Jason Croft. Thanks to our podcast audience and the more than now 420 public radio stations making it possible for people across the country to listen to The Middle. I'm Jeremy Hobson, and I'll talk to you next week.
This is CPR News, 90.1 FM KCFR Denver, 1490 AM KCFC Boulder, on HD at 90.1 FM, at CPR.org, and on your smart speaker. Say play CPR News.
Support comes from William Gregg, a Boulder realtor committed to relationships above transactions, providing concierge service with the goal to simplify the process so clients can focus on living life. Learn more about William Gregg at williamgregg.com.
Support comes from Jan and Associates, providing trademark, copyright, and entertainment law services for over 2 decades. Learn more at creative-thinkers.com. Jan and Associates, attorneys for creative thinkers.
From CPR News, this is Colorado Matters. He came to the U.S. with the dream of becoming a doctor. Instead, Dikembe Mutombo became one of the greatest NBA defensive players of all time, including right here for the Denver Nuggets. And he always had a way with people.
Although he was 7'2" in stature, he always